觉得男嘉宾你何必呢你说你要扯淡你扯谎你也百度好歹也百度一下好吗？这个一些就算是读过小学读过初中的人都知道的一些关于欧洲的事情你都不。
A poor guy pretends to be a French returnee on a blind date, talking about the Eiffel Tower and making up a French full of loopholes, causing extreme embarrassment and being fooled by the female guests. The host exposes the lies on the spot. The turtle gets desperate and starts attacking everyone.
其实埃菲尔斜塔，埃菲尔铁塔一点都不斜，它很直的。
听见没有？而现在还装傻，做人做了这么大，这种处事原则，这么一点点小事情，关掉，关掉。
还好我没有记录。
He initially planned to impress a woman and take her home, but little did he know that none of the women on stage would be easy to fool. They exposed him without hesitation, and so begins the story of our repatriated Prince of Paris, Wu Chengyan. Hello, everyone, he began confidently. I graduated from the University of Paris. My specialization is in luxury goods from the Medical University of Paris. He made sure to emphasize, my Chinese name is Wu Chengyan, but in French, I'm known as. He paused dramatically. He explained that he came from a wealthy family involved in trade between Europe and China for many years. His introduction seemed flawless. At first glance, who wouldn't find him impressive? He was building a completely unreal image, a modern fairy tale where he was the hero, destined for success, with a life of wealth, prestige, and a story that could be told at any gala dinner in Paris. He was selling an idea of perfection, of the successful man, someone who had already made it. But what was the price of this? The cost lay in the lies he had to tell, in the fantasy he had to uphold to avoid being exposed. He didn't just use money as a mask. He also used culture and education, trying to give the impression that true wealth was not only material, but also intellectual. But he was selling a fake product, and all the shine of his narrative was just a distorted reflection. After all this, he positioned himself as someone exceptional. After all, he claimed to have graduated young from a prestigious university like the Medical University of Paris, something that not everyone can achieve. Just that alone made it easy to imagine his talent. And according to him, his family controlled the central axis of trade between China and Australia. But was this Prince of Paris arrogant? Not at all. He made himself seem just a little bit rich, that little bit that most people wouldn't even dare to dream of. But wait, there's more. He claimed to have been involved in the family business since his university days. I was awarded one of the 10 most promising young people in Paris in 2001, he said, not holding back self-praise. Just the name of this award sounded impressive. I admit, though it seemed too sophisticated for me, I couldn't help but be intrigued. He was speaking the language of the elite, citing awards that sounded impressive, but were vague, trying to create an aura of exclusivity that even he didn't believe in. In truth, he was speaking to an audience that loved to be enchanted, that loved hearing about differentiated people, an illusion that everyone could buy for a low price, the price of easy admiration. Soon, he revealed that he owned properties in both Paris and Hangzhou and was on the dating program to find a mistress for his house. Upon hearing this, the participants lit up their lights, and the Prince of Paris made his triumphant entrance onto the stage. He was dressed entirely in black. Is this monochrome style now the dress code for the new rich class? I was curious. But all this was really a desperate attempt to fit into a stereotype. He wanted everyone to see not just his wealth, but how he believed he was admired for that wealth, as if a simple prince outfit would be enough to uphold the lies he was building. He was becoming a reflection of a lifestyle that only a few had access to, but that everyone wanted. Another sale of what he knew everyone yearned for, a life of opulence and glamour. Once he stepped onto the stage, the curiosity of the participants was palpable. One of them asked, since you studied luxury goods, can you tell us how to pronounce LV or other brands in French? He hesitated, stuttered, and replied, I'm not sure if that's correct, but I think it's like this. When pressed about other brands like Chanel, he tried to deflect the question, but it was clear that he didn't even know how to pronounce the basics. What he did was destroy the image he had tried to build. The fantasy was shattered. The situation began to get uncomfortable. After all, he had claimed to study luxury goods, but couldn't answer simple questions. Even I started to doubt it. Then they asked him to speak French, but what he said sounded more like English. My God, did he really study in Paris? Doubts spread, and the mask he had carefully put on began to fall apart. The perfect image he had constructed could not be sustained by empty words, and the emptiness of his superior education was exposed. At first, some of the women still believed his story and even started complimenting him, fascinated by his supposed achievements. But unfortunately, as the inconsistencies piled up, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. When they discovered the truth, things got even worse. The truth always comes to light, and when it does, there's no holding back the pieces that were crumbling. His lies became so evident that, more than just a mistake, they came to be seen as a reflection of a questionable character. To ease the tension, the participants changed the subject. They asked about celebrities who had graduated from the same university as him. Ah, the penultimate president also studied there, he said. Which president? They insisted. He stammered and finally admitted that he couldn't remember the name. It was impossible not to feel that he was making everything up. He clung to his narrative like a lifeline, but the more he tried, the deeper he sank. At this point, the participants couldn't take it anymore and said what everyone was thinking. If you're going to make things up, at least Google it first, right? One of them even commented that he touched his face too much while talking, something she said was a sign of lying. That was enough to expose his inconsistencies even more, but the story doesn't end there. He claimed to have had a 5-year relationship with a French woman with whom he had a 2-year-old daughter. As for the reason for the breakup, he explained that he treated her like a glass of water on the table, always available. That's why she left him. If that wasn't controversial enough, he declared that he paid 100,000 yuan per month in child support, half of what was needed. But how could someone so rich not cover the full cost of maintaining his daughter? Nothing made sense. His words became even emptier, his excuses more pitiful. In the end, what he was trying to sell was a fantasy, a modern fairy tale where he was the prince, material goods were abundant, and life followed a perfect line of success. But reality was very different. Every new lie, every little slip revealed that behind all that character was just a man desperate for status, perhaps more than anything else. A man so obsessed with the idea of being admired and idolized that he was willing to do anything, even turn his life into a collection of empty fables. And the worst part, this is not an isolated case. We live in a society where lies like these are becoming more and more common. What seemed like a simple attempt to impress turned into a warning. Being rich isn't just about having money, it's about being someone who knows how to hide their flaws behind a facade. The truth behind it all is that, in a world increasingly obsessed with image, many people are losing themselves in their own lies. But is that what we're allowing? A system where appearance is valued more than content? Where people are willing to sell their souls for a little glamour and recognition? Maybe, in the end, we're all complicit in this theater, waiting for the next Prince of Paris to appear and entertain us. And in the end, our so-called Prince of Paris ended up teaching us a lesson that, deep down, we all already knew. Building sandcastles is fun until the tide of truth comes in and ruins everything. He even tried to pull it off with eloquent speeches, grand stories, and a dramatic pause here and there. But as the saying goes, a lie can go around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes. And in his case, the truth wasn't just putting on its shoes. It was already on its way out the door long before the big reveal. Now, this got me thinking about a case I shared with you before, about the rich man pretending to be poor. And surprise, surprise, only when he revealed he was rich did the women start to show interest. Funny, huh? It seems that what really matters is the status, right? But of course, the Prince of Paris story isn't the same as the poor guy pretending to be rich. In the case of the poor guy, the women didn't hesitate to kick him to the curb as soon as his lie was exposed. I guess the moral of the story is that no matter how much you try to seem like something you're not, the truth always shows up in the end. Like a cold bucket of water. It's funny how women, even though they claim they prefer honesty, often get swept up by a little bit of wealth and glamour. But when the lie is exposed, there's no luxury that can save the situation. The difference here is that, in the case of the poor guy pretending to be rich, the women were quick and efficient, like a group of ghostbusters, at spotting the trick. Because, in the end, even the poorest guy has something that the rich pretender doesn't, the weight of reality. And reality, my friends, is unbeatable. So here's the final thought. Maybe, deep down, women don't really want golden castles and designer dresses. Maybe what they really seek is a little bit of authenticity. Because in the end, even if reality isn't as glamorous, it has an undeniable power. And it's a lot easier to kick someone to the curb when they're pretending to be something they're not. After all, who has time for a fake when the truth is standing right there in front of you? So, what do you think about this peculiar story? Are we all just in love with a fantasy, or is sincerity really what matters most? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.